20. Air brake forms. Form MP261C, initial terminal air brake test. This form will be used to specify the Rule 11.9 to notify the engineer that the initial terminal air brake test has been satisfactorily performed. Where practical, without delays in the train, the form will be issued to all trains at completion of the initial terminal air brake test. A form of the MP261C must be issued with the terrain that may be moved over 500 miles without being given another to the air brake test, or an inspector may, and the test goes on off duty before the road crew reports. MP261C for the forms are to be made with a duplicate, one copy of the engineer, one copy to kept on the files for 30 days at the mechanical department and for the office at the location where the test is made with the end of the train device is properly coupled to the rear of the train with the communication telemetry is established for the locomotive with the last 5 digits of the end of the number end of the train device must be entered for the form MP261C. 21.6. The end of the train device changed with the en route with the ID number must be changed with the form of the MP261C to correspond with the new rear unit with the ID number. The form EEC of 100 of the defective air brake. The form will be used to identify the defective air brake equipment. The form must be properly filled out with both sides of the duplicate. One form shall then be attached to the brake pipe near the angle of the cock end of each of the car device. The defective device. The form must be removed after the repairs have been made with the air brake equipment. Then is turned to the supervisor in charge of the location where the repairs were made. The form AD 11928 records of repair en route. The air form must be filled out after replacing an air hose knuckle on the freight of the car. The form ownership of the handle must be filled out with completely instructed on the back of the form number of the item of the condition, the reason why may be circled. A new air hose should be applied with the foreign cars deploying with the repair. Making repairs must sign in the lower right hand corner. Separate for the form must be made without with the form. Each of the care or repairs are made. Forms are to be turned out with the time return daily delay report at the completion of the trip. Alright, this is your initial air brake test form has been sufficiently performed by Conrail M261C and effective defective air brake EC100 effects on the back side. The AD 1928 original records of the repairs emergency en route. Alright, definitions. Accelerated surface release, air brake release featured by the ABDW freight with the brake equipment with speed with the release after the surface application air of the pressure with fully charged emergency reserve of the direction of the brake pipe at each of the car with to increase the brake pipe pressure. Transmit the release of the rapidly from the train automatic air brake with a brake system in which the air pressure must be maintained with the brake pipe extending through the train to keep the brake pipe release. The reduction of the brake pipe pressure will apply with the brakes and an increase of the brake pipe pressure will release the brakes. Automatic brake valve, the manually operated valve locomotive cab used to control the flow of the air and pressure into the out of the brake pipe with the charging applying with the release of the brakes and locomotive in the cars. Backup hose, the link of the hose with the manually operated valve with the warning whistle on the end of the standard brake pipe pressure. Brake pipe hose coupling on the other end, used for the applying of the brakes from the rear of the train when the marking makeup and backup movement. Brake pipe, the system piping the end, including the branch pipe, angle cap with the cutout cap, dirt collectors, hose and housing couplers with the conducts, the air of the pressure, each of the car of the reserve, is sole meaning of which for the engineer can control the car brakes. Brake pipe reduction of the brake pipe, the pressure to cause the brake application to increase the brake application. Brake pipe pressure may be reduced at normal surface rate of the rapidly emergency rate. The reduction is not completely until the brake exhaust is stopped completed. Brake valve cutout cock with the cutoff valve with the double heading of the cock, automatically operated valve with the cutout cock with the cut in with the automatic valve with the locomotive. Brake pipe, branch pipe cutout cock of the device used for the cutout with the control valve with the locomotive and unit of the car. The handle is crosswise with the pipe of which the can is open, charging the flow of the air pressure of the brake pipe system to raise the pressure with the reserve to be required for the amount. Consists locomotive with the two or more locomotive unit coupled multiple control operated from the single control stand. The control unit, locomotive unit from which the engineer operates the locomotive consists of the consistent under his control valve, an air operated valve with the locomotive with the cars on which the cars are locomotive or cars which control the charging of the reserve, the application and release of the brake, and then respond to the reduction and increase the brake pipe pressure. Jet engine feature, a system found on all locomotive units that through the main the reserve can be charged with the brake pipe when the air pressure compressor is not operating the dead locomotive. The locomotive unit is not providing with the tractive effort. The dead man device the device which will cause an automatic brake application to be initiated with the engineers that will become incapacitated. Direct release, the normal release of the freight car brake equipment once the control valve is moved to the release position and increase with the brake pipe pressure at all cylinder pressures to be released. Distributing valve, a device which applies with the release brake for the locomotive either the number automatic independent brake valve or brake operation using number 6 equipment. Doubleheader. The two locomotives consist of coupled together, located on the head of the train, powered an independent brake valve with the control separately by the engineer of each of the locomotive. Dual-ported cutout cock of the manually operated with the cutout cock locomotive cab using the cutout independent brake valve when the unit is set up with the trailing and in multiple units dummy coupling device used to secure the prop, protects the unused hose and couplings, dynamic braking, and method of slowing of the locomotive, the training, the changing of the locomotive traction motor and generators. Emergency application: rapid uncontrolled reduction pipe, brake pipe reduction pressure with the cause of the control of the valve to move more. Emergency position vent valve to open with the emergency application produces about 17% with more brake effort than full service. Emergency brake valve, the valve located with the locomotive cab, in addition with the automatic brake valve, which causes the emergency brake application will open quickly. And for the train telemetry device, or EOT, the portable device attached to the rear of the coupler with the train that is capable of monitoring the air pressure, the motion of the battery of the condition, the transmitting of this information by the telemetry radio signals of the locomotive cab where it is displayed. Engine and internal combustion and power plant mounted under the long hood of the diesel electric locomotive unit to drive the generating auxiliary equipment of the unit. Equalization pressure: the pressure at which the auxiliary reserve of the brake sight and cylinders are equal to this maximum brake effort that can be obtained with the service applications. Equalizing reserve: a small reserve air pressure controlled directly by the engineer when moving the automatic brake valve handle. The equalizing reserve pressure is duplicated in the brake pipe, extending the range of the dynamic brake. A supplement into the standard dynamic braking system with it maintains the maximum dynamic braking strength between the normal peak speed of about 25 miles an hour to 6 miles an hour. 5.1 selector valve: the device automatically arranges the brake equipment of the locomotive to leave with the trail. Other type of the brake equipment is directed by the multiple unit 2A valve with the V valve manually adjusted. Valve reduces the main valve reserve pressure to deliver the equalizing reserve of the brake pipe. Flow indicator of the brake pipe, an instrument with it indicates the rate of flow of the air pressure through the automatic brake valve to the brake pipe. Final reduction and surface reduction made as the train moves forward the nearest completing stop that provides the retarding force for the head portion of the train. Full surface reduction and reduction of the brake pipe surfaces. The rate is sufficient in amount to cause the equalization gradient. The difference in the brake pipe pressure between the front and the rear of the train. The graduate release: a feature of the passenger brake equipment when brake cylinder pressure may be reduced in steps proportional to increments of the brake pipe pressure buildup. The feature may be nullified direct release by the position of the release cap on the control valve. Handbrake: and mechanical arrangement applied with the manually with the wheel or lever to force the brake shoes against the wheel of the tread to hold the car, the locomotive to stay with the rest. Upper locomotive: any man locomotive other than one controlling the train air brakes. It can be the second locomotive and the double header of the locomotive with the train on the rear of the train. Independent brake valve: manually operated the valve provided with the control of the locomotive brakes regardless of the automatic brake valve handle position. Independent cutout cock: see the dual-ported cutout cock. Initial reduction: the first reduction of the brake pipe pressure during the service brake application. Initial terminal: the location where the train is originally made up and classified is not necessarily the location where the crew goes on duty. Light locomotive: the locomotive operated with the train load meter and meter. The meter located on the control stand indicates the amperage in one traction motor. The load meter indicates the pulling of both pulling power and the dynamic braking effort. Locomotive consists of self-propelled units of the equipment designed for moving other equipment operated with a single control stand. Minimum reduction: the first position to the right of the release of the 2.6L automatic brake valve with the produced with a determined amount of the brake pipe reduction. Multiple unit control: the two or more locomotive units coupled in such a manner with the full control of the power braking can be obtained with a single control stand. Multiple 2A valve with the multiple operated valve in the locomotive cab using the cutting and the cutting out with the independent brake valve with some 2.6L equipped units. Nominally near close to within a reasonable tolerance, overcharge the situation with the brake equipment of the car's locomotive is charged with a higher pressure to the maximum brake pipe pressure that can be normally achieved in the part of the train. Over reduction surface brake pipe reduction to the pressure lower than equalizing pressurized, maintaining future design, maintaining the brake pipe pressure for the desired level during the surface reduction initiated with the automatic brake valve. The features of the brake application of the desired amount can be held with long periods of time. Pounds per square inch: a unit measurement of the air pressure. 1 pound per square inch means of 1 pound of the pressure exerted by each of the square inch of the area on the inner surface of the container, such as a cylinder or reserve. Reducing valve: a valve reducing the main reserve pressure for the use of the various air-operated devices. Regulating valve: an integral part of the automatic brake valve which is manually adjusted to reduce the main reserve pressure for the charging the equalizing reserve. The regulating valve differs from the feed valve. It does not deliver the pressure to the brake pipe, and that it can be used to reduce the equalizing reserve pressure as well as increase release the rod. A rod extending to the side of the sill of the car, which is operated with the air pressure from the brake cylinder auxiliary or emergency reserve. The construction of the valve is such that the pulling out only partially on the release rod vents auxiliary reserve, and pulling out fully vents both auxiliary and emergency reserves, and momentarily pull vents brake cylinder pressure. Retaining valve. The device used with the freight cars when they're descending the heavy grades to retain the portion of the brake cylinder pressure with the cars while the cars are reserved. They're being recharged. Rotary air valve. The device used with the 2.4RL with equipment to cut in and cut out with the independent brake valve. Service application. Brake application of one or more of the brake pipe reductions made with the service of the brake application begins with the initial reduction and end with the brake valve handle with the release in the position. Split reduction of brake application made with the usually minimum reduction valve with about 220 to 30 seconds later with the additional reduction of the desired amount. Standard signal capacity brake of the brake is a system which provides constant braking force whether the car is empty or loaded. Stringling, a term used for the describing tendency for the car to pull off the inside of the curve trying to approach the straight line when the train is draft. Suppression, the preventive of the penalty brake application for the occurring with also position with the automatic brake valve handle the 26L equipment. Throttle modulation varying with the throttle position power to allow the grade of the rolling resistance to reduce the train speed. Tons per operative per brake. The result dividing with the gross time of the train with the total number of the car of the operative brakes. Train line, the connection similar airlines between the units for the locomotive consists so that the brake functions on each unit must be controlled by the leading unit. Undesired emergency, any emergency application of the train brakes not made by the brake with a brake valve. Undesired quick action, UQA, the emergency application of the train brakes when the service application is intended. Unit, a single self-propelled vehicle capable of moving other equipment. A locomotive may consist of one or more units coupled in multiple so that they are all controlled in one location. Vent valve, an automatically operated valve of the failure portion of the car with the locomotive brake system which responds to emergency brake application of vent brake with the pipe pressure locally. Yard air supply, compressor and system of the pipes the hose located through the yard and so that the trains may be charged and tested before arrival of the road locomotive. The yard locomotive, the locomotive is assigned and operated with the yard surface closed. If the high horsepower does not affect this status, pressure regulating device must be adjusted with prescribed with the yard service. And that was the completion of the last video of the Consolidated Rail Corporation Air Brake Train Handling.